Are you representing today?
Oh, dude, I'm hard flexing more church. You couldn't tell.
I wonder what you belong to.
I belong to Jesus and to more church. So I was like, you know what? We were going to film a video today, but we didn't because the camera's something or other and technology.
Something. Yeah.
And so we'll film it tomorrow.
Okay. You going to wear the same thing?
I'm going to, I'm going to wear the same, not going to wash it or nothing. It's not true. I can't handle.
I was going to say, cleanest man I know.
Yeah, I can't do it.
No.
I can't wear things more than once.
Well, welcome to the Tug of War.
What's up, y'all?
And this is just a conversation between two friends.
Yeah. Where we talk about all kind of stuff.
That's right.
We talk about how God has a great plan and calling on our lives, and that He wants us to step into greatness.
Yep.
But that for us to step into that, there's some tension.
That's right.
There's
because
a tug of war.
We want to be there. Got to keep tugging.
So on Monday of next week,
we're going on a trip.
Rachel and I and Aaron Witt are going to. Nope.
That's Little Einsteins. You don't know that one? No,
I don't know. Little Einsteins? No,
you have children?
Yeah, but my children were born recently.
Mine were born a long time ago.
We're going to Africa.
South Africa.
Durban, South Africa.
That's right. I'm excited.
So we're going to be gone for 10 days.
It's going to be great.
There.
The four of us have traveled together a lot of places.
That's true.
I don't think we've ever gotten 10 days together, though. I wonder how that's going to be.
Maybe we'll hate each other by the time this is over.
We'll see.
The next tug of war is me and Rachel.
Oh, God. Hey, now. It's going to be fun, I think. It's a lot of flying, a lot of hours in a plane.
How long?
It's like 2 9-hour flights.
Nope.
So it's going to be but it's more than that. I don't know. It's like 30 hours of travel by the time we get there.
Yeah, and there's all the time change.
Yep.
I've been
culture change.
I've been to Africa before. Whitney and Aaron and Rachel, none of them have ever been to Africa.
Which is usually on the trips, I'm the one I've been here. I love this place. You are now the tour guide.
Yeah.
And I get to be the child that is tell us where to go.
Yeah, but if you put me in Fort Worth and I've lived here 20 years, could not find my way home without a map.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to know nothing. All I remember is the food in Africa. Uh-huh. And they would make us eat bunny chow. It's a thing that we're going to get.
Actual bunnies?
You never really know what the meat is all the time. But they take a loaf of bread and they cut it in half and they pull the middle out. Mm-hmm. And then they fill the loaf of bread with meat of questionable origin.
I think it's bunny.
Curry.
Okay.
Rice.
Yep.
And then you eat all the food with your fingers. And so while you're eating with your hands, there's no silverware, none in sight, no napkins in sight, no ice.
There's no ice?
No ice. All of Africa, not one cube of ice in all of Africa. And so you eat it, you scoop it with your fingers, and then you use your thumb like a little steam shovel, and you use your thumb to push the food into your mouth.
I'm going to take lots of silverware.
I cannot wait. Aaron's going to be fine.
Oh, he'll be fine.
But I can't wait to see you and Rachel.
I'm the one that even as a baby was if my hands got dirty, can't handle.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to just take some silverware in my bag. Can I do that?
You're going to be that American?
Absolutely.
Okay, this is why they hate us. This is why we're globally hated.
Hey,
you and some other things.
I'm fighting the tension and the tug of war by bringing my own supplies. That's what I'm going to do.
But you know what? We're going to stay there for 10 days, and then we're going to come home.
I will eat it with my hands.
Unless God calls us to Africa.
He ain't doing that.
What if he does?
He already called us to Mansfield. That's what we're doing.
That's true.
We're giving our lives to this place, and it's good.
But if you want to be a missionary, you should do that.
Absolutely. The world needs it.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Quit your job. Listen, maybe this is a prophetic word for somebody who's watching. Quit your job. Go be an African missionary.
Hey, what are we talking about today?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I just ate a poblano.
Oh my word.
We went to a Mexican restaurant that, those restaurants you drive by every day and you never go. And so today, some of us and some of the team, we were like, let's go to this restaurant.
It was pretty good.
It was pretty good. And so I ordered a stuffed poblano pepper that was not bad.
Yes. That's how I felt about my meal. It was not bad.
Yeah.
I was coming to record and they have us sitting across from each other, and therefore I am insecure about all of my selfness. So I ate a light meal.
Light meal. Oh yeah. So that you wouldn't gain
The
weight.
one meal would help me be skinny for this moment.
Okay.
That's what I did.
So as we're tugging into more
Yeah.
in our churches, businesses,
Everything. in our life.
industries,
Yep.
there's something that is really a challenge for me.
Yeah.
And I think something that's a challenge for a lot of people is that what we do is relational.
100%.
Like pastoring
Our job, yeah, for
is
sure.
very relational, that we are connecting with people, that we're relationally connected. And the hardest part is that people leave.
Yeah.
That you have people that you're really close to, that you love, that you're in a relationship with, but then something gets crossed up somewhere.
Yeah.
Whether it's your fault, not your fault, you're not even a part of it, or they just get a new job and have to move.
Yeah.
That at some point, people that you're close to, they are no longer part of your life.
Right. Our context for conversation, life, ministry, all of that is the Bible. And we believe that the Bible tells us that God did not create us to do life alone. That
Right.
in fact, from the very beginning, he created us to be in relationship with each other. And so no matter what we're doing in life, humans are built. It's why that whole COVID season has been so hard for people in their mental
Yeah.
health, is because we're built to be together.
Yeah.
And it is really hard. I think for you and I, what we've learned over the last 6 years, man, has been this really difficult struggle to understand that some people are with you for a season and some people are with you for a lifetime, and being able to differentiate that it's okay that not everybody's with you always and forever. Not
Yeah.
everybody's ride or die gonna be there
Yeah.
till the end of time. And it sucks,
Yeah, it sucks.
but it's a necessary part of tugging into more.
And I think if you're watching and you're like, yep, I've been there, people that I've loved or I've been close to are now no longer in my life,
Yeah.
or no longer part of your organization, just hearing that it's hard
Yeah.
might give you a little peace. And so it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to have people leave.
Right. Let me ask you a question. Who was your best friend in third grade?
Should I say his whole name? A guy named Chris.
A guy named Chris.
Yeah.
For me, a girl named Stephanie.
Okay.
And when was the last time you talked to Chris?
Oh man. I literally don't. I mean, high school.
Yeah, right.
But like kind of.
Yeah,
Because
I
like we kind
messaged-
of went different directions in like sixth grade.
yeah.
And, yeah.
I messaged that with the Stephanie girl a few years ago on Facebook because the internet. But other than that, I haven't talked to her, since high school. And I'm like, we are okay with that in seasons of life.
Yeah.
That we grew and we grew apart, like you just said, but we changed
Matured
and shifted.
beyond.
Matured beyond. But in our adult life, in our regular circumstances, we get really upset when people leave. And I think sometimes we do things so that people won't leave, which hinders us from stepping into more because we're unwilling to, we dance around it. We talked about it just a couple weeks ago, like tiptoeing and all that in culture shifts, because we don't want people to leave, but it's a part of it. It's
Yeah.
a part of going into more, knowing and understanding it's okay. I'm not still friends with Stephanie, and I might not still be friends with somebody else
Yeah.
in a year. It sucks, but it's what it is.
I remember when we first started the church. So we planted the church, started from kind of nothing. Rachel had gotten a job at one of the high schools here in town.
Yeah.
And so had kind of became friends with one of the principals.
Yeah.
And this principal, her and her husband were pastors of a church kind of up in Dallas. And it was True Vine Missionary Baptist Church.
Fort Worth.
Fort Worth.
Yeah.
And so we went to a football game with them, like one of the high school football games. And we're sitting there, and there's this old pastor, like 70.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling him about the church and how excited I am, and I'm telling him about the team. And he turns to me and he says, "They'll all leave." And I was like, "What?" And he was like,
encouraging.
"Yeah." And he was like, "I've been in the ministry for 49 years. They're all gonna leave you." And I was like, "Okay." So I dug. We did the episode on asking questions.
Yeah.
And so I dug in and said, "Man, what are you talking about? What do you mean they're gonna leave?" And he said, "You're coming with this great group of people that you're planting with, that you're excited about. But what you've got to know is that over time, everybody isn't always going to be there." And
Right.
he gave me an illustration about how when you're building a house or like a big building, that to build the building, yes, there are pillars, and those pillars are always with the house.
Yeah.
But there's sometimes you have to put up scaffolding.
Right.
Scaffolding is like a ladder. It's like a thing that you build that's temporary to help erect the house.
Right.
and that sometimes there's relationships that we have that are foundational. They are a pillar. They are somebody who's going to be there for a long time.
Yeah.
But sometimes there are people in our life that are scaffolding.
Yeah.
And we can't get mad that scaffolding isn't a pillar and mad that a pillar isn't scaffolding.
Right? No. It's really good.
Yeah.
You've used it. I didn't know that's where that illustration came from, but I've heard it a bunch because...
I mean, that's the first time I remember hearing it.
Yeah.
It's probably...
Well, no, but
Yeah.
I didn't know that's where you'd heard it originally. The scaffolding helps you, like, across the street from our house, the backyard of our house, there's a house across the street that they've been working on forever, and there's scaffolding still that's been up, but I know it's going to come down someday. But all the time the dudes are up on the scaffolding working on the second floor.
Yeah.
Scaffolding is important. Those relationships are still important because they help you get to where you're going, and they will help maybe even push you into more. So what we've had to learn the balance of is not to wall up against people that maybe aren't going to be with me forever. I'm still going to love them and give them value, let them add value to my life because they're necessary. But then when it transitions and shifts, I just can't be surprised and I can't be so devastated.
Yeah.
I think that for you and I, there were lots of seasons where we were devastated
Super.
by relationships that we were hoping would be pillars, but were really just scaffolding. And having that illustration has helped me so much to be able to understand it's okay. Let them go. And let them move in their life where they're going, the direction they're going, and let me focus back on me and my house and the people that are going to be there forever.
It can be, in the early years for me, what I found out is that when somebody would say that they were like going to leave the church or were thinking of like doing something new, man, I would put so much energy into trying to get them to stay. Mm-hmm. I would bend over backwards to try to retain the people.
Right.
So much so that I was acting out of my normal character.
Correct.
I was then I was pouring so much into the relationship that it was on life support.
Right.
But I was the one doing all the work.
Yep.
And the minute I stopped doing one thing, they left anyways.
Right.
And so it's taken me a long time. And sometimes I still fall back into it.
Yeah.
That I want to work so hard to keep the thing alive that sometimes what's wisdom is to just realize like, it's okay.
Well, and in
They're gonna
that,
leave.
you're giving so much energy in one place, that means your energy is being pulled from another.
I'm not connecting to new people.
Right.
I'm not reassembling new pillars.
Yeah. You're not.
Or scaffolding because I'm so trying to keep this rickety one from falling apart.
No, and I think that we all have people, like, I can hear somebody be like, okay, but then how do I know? How do I know who's scaffolding, who's pillar? How do I know? And I think that you don't always know. And that's the part that stinks. But there are signs that there are some people in your life, what you said, you kind of feel it. You and I have had people that have been on different leadership teams with us, even different staff members, different people that when they came, we had this like, they're not going to be here forever. Something someday at some point is going to happen that they're going to step out. And so we have to be okay with it because in the moment when it's happening, if we remember, oh yeah, I've already identified that that's probably going to happen with them someday, it makes it a lot easier to go ahead and bless them as they go. Because what we've done wrong before, we're always sharing what we've done wrong. That's how we learn, is that we've tried to hold on to them so bad in the moments when we should have said, oh yeah, this is a good moment. Go ahead. It's okay to leave. And so I can imagine there's business owners, there's leaders, there's people who've worked with someone and, you know, maybe you got an employee that you're like, it's time for them to go. But in that moment, instead, you're like, no, let me give you more money, or no, let me do this thing, and trying to get them to stay. But it's okay. Maybe there's been, if you've had those symptoms and signs, it's time to let them go.
Yeah. I've got so many thoughts of like, should we start telling stories?
Well, we can tell them.
Or should we talk the like how we felt or why people leave? Like, let me just shoot a few off. Why people leave. People leave because you've grown.
Yeah.
And you have elevated yourself up and they're where they were. And so they're just not going to go with you on the journey.
Right.
People leave because you don't cater to them. Mm-hmm. People leave because something else better in their mind came along and they would rather go.
Yep.
People leave because something happens situationally around you that has nothing to do with you, but they're not mature enough to process those emotions. So they leave.
Right.
But then you are left holding the bag feeling like a loser.
Yeah.
People leave because life.
Yeah.
And we can take it personally.
Right.
All these different reasons.
Yeah.
And like for me, I've historically taken it super personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
That people leave either being friends with me and Rachel, or leave the church, or leave just a circle of community. I've taken it super personally, like I screwed something up.
Right. And I think it's
sometimes I have.
I was going to say, I think it's important to identify. Like sometimes it is our fault. We have to be willing to say my bad. But you and I talk about it all the time that like coming as a leader, stepping into more, one of your number one objectives is to keep a humble spirit about you.
Yeah.
And if you'll do that, then even when you screw it up, you're okay.
Yeah.
But I think, that first one you said is a huge one. That if you're a person that's tugging into more, there are people that will not be able to go to more with you.
Yeah.
And that you have to be okay with it. I remember in the season when we transitioned into working together full time and me being full time on staff at the church, some relationships in my life that either one was they felt threatened, which there's no reason to be. There's plenty of seats on the bus. Like we all can have our space. But I remember having a conversation with one friend that we'd been friends for a long time. And really in my perspective thought they'd be friends with us forever. And I remember one day she like stopped me and kind of said, hey, I understand. And I was like, what? She was like, I understand that everything's different now. I understand because like you're now speaking and teaching and leading and pastoring and I understand that it's different. And I was like, I'm still me.
Yeah.
I'm just doing more of what God's asked me to do. I haven't changed. Nothing's changed for me. But in that moment, I realized she now sees me different and she can't go the journey with me. And it sucks.
Yeah.
But I had to be okay knowing what the temptation was then for me to shrink back. Mm-hmm. Was for me to go, well, never mind.
I'll stay where I am.
I'll stay where I am. The next time he asks me to speak, I'll say no.
Mm-hmm.
The next time they give me an opportunity to lead something, I'll just say, oh, I don't want to do that. Or I'll hide it from these relationships so they won't know about it. And that's silly.
Yeah.
Because the true people that are with you forever, they're going to be with you through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the wins in your life, they're going to celebrate, not tear down. And I remember that moment, and it helped me so much go, okay, there are going to be people that are not going to be able to handle this adjustment.
Yeah.
And I talk to people all the time. They go from, we have a good friend, Beth. She went from being a nurse on the team to now the manager of the nurses and shifting now into a new role. It changes the dynamic of things.
Yeah, there's this idea that people have, like, you forgot where you came from.
No, we started from the bottom, now we're here. Like,
yeah, and like,
right.
No, it's not that I forgot where I came from. It's that I just grew beyond that.
I'm not going to stay there.
It's like rappers. Rappers, they have all this conflict because they get really well known and famous and have all this money, but all their like gangbanging buddies get mad that they're now living in the hills, driving, and they're like, man, you forgot where you came from. And it's like, dude, I don't want to live in the projects anymore.
Right.
Like I'm from Flint, Michigan.
Right.
And like, I've got buddies that are like, man, you left.
Yeah.
You left us here. And I'm like, or you could have left too.
Right. You
like,
could have also.
And so what happens is when you elevate yourself, what you're saying, when you step into more, some people that didn't step are just mad about it.
Yeah.
I remember we had some close friends that we were in a relationship with. And like over some time through multiple transitions, Aaron had a promotion.
Yeah.
I stepped into more, you stepped into more, and like they hadn't.
Yeah.
And it created all of this like relational
tension.
Yeah. And then they started getting mad about it. And then it was like there was a separation of relationship. Yeah. And it hurt, man.
Yeah, it hurt.
It hurt and it's confusing. But sometimes more means that some people get left behind.
Yeah. No.
But if you can't separate, then you can't step into more.
Right. That's the whole piece. The whole reason for the conversation is understanding that for us, I think there were lots of times and moments that we had to make the decision, is more what I'm going after, or is staying the same, being complacent, not making a change? Is that what I'm going to settle for just because it might upset somebody?
Yeah.
We've talked about it a bunch of times. Like, I'm a girl, you're a dude. Like, our relational dynamic and the way we've stepped into more together is different and unique from all kinds of, from the regular way of the church world.
Yeah.
And we've had to have lots of conversations with us and with Aaron and Rach about, like, are we going to just shrink back to the status quo, or are we going to be okay with knowing we're not going to be for everybody? We're not going to be that slice of bread for every person, but that's okay because we're going to stay in our context. And so the the tricky thing can be, I don't want them to leave. I don't want them to get mad. I don't want them to be upset. And so instead we pander and then we just let go of the rope.
Yeah.
We just lay it down.
Right. Sometimes people have unrealistic expectations of what they
Yes.
want from us.
Absolutely.
So there was a family that was really part of the church and I was relationally connected to. Like me and this guy would have breakfast 4 times a year,
Yeah.
which might not sound like a lot, but I mean, when you
No,
have a
yeah.
busy schedule, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And so
once every 3 months.
yeah. And so this guy during like kind of COVID season around all the racial tension, he had an expectation of me to do more than I had done.
Yeah.
But when I talked to him about it, he said, I think you've done more than anybody else I've seen modeled. So, well, what would you want me to do?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And there was this expectation that was not realistic. I'm not
Yeah.
a politician. I'm a pastor.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just on my pulpit get up and talk about what CNN and
Yeah.
Fox News says every single Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get up and talk about all of those details. Now, I lean in, I think
Absolutely.
more than a lot do.
Oh, yeah.
But
From a place of humility.
but there
and
was
to
just
learn.
this like unrealistic expectation that was like,
Yeah.
bro, I'm not willing to do what you want me to do. And so if that means that we're out of relationship, that's on you.
Right.
But you've had that same thing
I was gonna say-
where like a woman expects you to show up and
Right. I was gonna say, I think it's easy to talk about it in like business culture and church culture, but just in our lives,
Yeah.
we have to be able to identify that if we want to step into more, sometimes there's gonna be people we just can't please. That they're never gonna be happy. I remember I had this one relationship, and yeah, it was like every time they called, I answered the phone. Anytime they text, I had to respond within. And if I didn't respond within 30 minutes, are you mad? Are you upset? And it's like, no, I just have a job and a husband and 2 children.
have a
and
life
all
other than
that I'm doing.
pandering to you.
And I remember on my 30th birthday, you and Rach and Aaron and a bunch, like, great birthday. Aaron threw me a great 30th birthday party at one of the airports in the area, like a big open space. And like you guys had gone early and helped, and Rachel had helped him a ton in setting it up, because that's just who y'all are and what we do and the way we do life. And after that, I didn't have anything to do with it. It was my 30th birthday. I just got to show up and be celebrated. And I remember that very next week, my mom was in town celebrating, and that very next day, this person calls me and is like, hey, can we talk? I'm really frustrated. I can't believe that you guys didn't have me help at your birthday. Why didn't Aaron think of me? It was like drama and like, what? And she's like, I need you to meet with me today. And I was like, no, my mom is in town. I can't do it. But there was this anxiety in me that was like, I have to figure out how to meet with her.
Yeah.
I have to go over there, because if I don't, this may just blow up the whole relationship. And how silly and absurd. Like in the moment, I remember even talking with y'all about it and being like, there's never going to be enough to appease them, because the truth was she wasn't happy in her own life.
Right.
It didn't have anything to do with me. It was her own circumstances of life were blowing up, and I was just this steady, safe person that she could count on. And so all of the hurt and pain and frustration she was struggling with in her own life, she was projecting onto me. And so it didn't matter what I did. At some point, I was really going to disappoint her. And so I just had to say, sorry, my mom's in town and it's my birthday weekend. I can't meet with you. And from that, the whole relationship fell apart.
But
And
it was because you were doing everything.
Correct. It was the most freeing thing to release that relationship.
But sad.
It's sad.
You
It
grieved
hurt.
it.
Oh, absolutely. But on the other side of it, I was like, oh, I didn't realize. I knew it. And even my friends and my husband were identifying it and helping me identify it. But I didn't even realize to the level that the weight was until it was gone. And sometimes we grieve these relationships, and we should, because it's sad. I saw a post the other day that said, like, it's okay to grieve toxic relationships when they end. But they need to end.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, man, stepping into more means letting go of things that
100%.
and people that are bringing us down. But it doesn't mean it's not sad, but it's necessary.
So I had a guy who wanted me to say something from the pulpit. You had a friend that wanted you to drop everything
All the time,
all the
always.
time. My son Titus, who's 7,
Yeah.
just came home the other day and said, Daddy, I have a friend at school, and at recess we play Godzilla King Kong. One of them is Godzilla,
Right.
and one of them is King Kong.
Yeah.
And the friend only wants to be Godzilla because he won the fight in the movie.
Yeah.
and Titus is only King Kong.
Yeah.
And he said, Daddy, I want to be Godzilla, not King Kong. But my friend said that he won't be my friend
Yeah.
if I'm not Godzilla. Or if he doesn't get to be Godzilla.
Yeah.
And I was like, it starts as kids, man.
It does.
And so I did what I had to talk with him. I said, well, buddy, what a friend is someone who cares about you
Right.
too. And I walked all that through,
Yeah.
that if the kid's just going to take his ball and go home and not be your friend anymore, he's not really your friend in the first
Right.
place. But we can understand that for our children.
Yeah.
But where it gets real complicated is as adults,
Yeah.
it starts to get real sticky.
Yeah.
And someone's an employee or they're a customer or they're a congregant and it's real sticky.
Yeah.
And we start to try to pander.
Yep. I think that when you're 7, for Titus, there's this boy at recess, but I have no idea, 55, 105.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Other kids
Yeah.
at recess.
Yeah.
And so in his, in our 7-year-old mind, and as adults now, we can go, hey, buddy, there's a whole bunch of other really great friends that you can choose from
Yeah.
on the playground.
Mm-hmm.
But as adults, we it's harder to make relationships. It's harder to
Mm-hmm.
find good employees. It's harder to really build what we've built. And we can start to have that poverty almost
Yeah.
mindset of, but if they go, I'll be alone.
Yeah.
But if they go, what will be in their place? And what we found is that anytime someone's gone, God always does what he does and replaces them, not just with one more.
Times 5.
But yeah, with
Every
more.
time. There's a podcast that we did, I think, called Youre Fired.
Yeah, we did do that.
that I think would be like, because there's some people leave and some people you need to push out.
Yeah.
And I'm telling myself, don't go down that vein.
Yeah.
But like sometimes you have people that they're not leaving, but you need to leave them.
Yeah.
And so I would encourage you to go and
Absolutely.
listen to that one.
Break up with them if you need
Yeah,
to. Right.
break up with them.
But when they go, it's okay. It's okay.
It hurts though.
Oh God, it hurts
I
so
remember
much.
for a while, this is kind of a long story, so I don't know how much to get into, but when I had to dump my emotional trailer,
Oh yeah.
there were all these people that had left and over years. And for me emotionally, I remembered all of them.
Well,
And I would drive around town and know where these people live.
Yeah.
And it was like I couldn't drive down the street without thinking, man, they left me.
yeah.
They're not with me anymore. And it really turned into this like funk in my life. And I said it felt like I had this trailer behind me in my emotions. Like I would drive a big truck and always pulling trailer.
Yeah.
And it felt like I had all these names in this trailer behind me. And I just was like losing my joy because of everyone who
Right.
left. And so one day I called a meeting with Rachel and you and Aaron, and
Yeah.
I explained all this to you, like really sad.
Yeah.
And I listed all these names of people, and I was like, guys, I'm still dragging these names around. I am exhausted from all of these seeming failures. And so I don't all the way know what I'm saying, but I need help.
Well,
and so
yeah.
you guys prayed with me
Right.
and like help me dump the
Yeah.
proverbial trailer. And
No, it's really good.
something your husband said that still echoes all the time. Aaron said, hey, Truston, those people are still in a relationship with God.
Yeah.
Like, my whole deal is souls. My whole thing is reaching people far from God. And just because they left the church doesn't mean they're going to hell.
Right.
And I knew that.
Right.
But there was just this unbalanced pressure that I put on
Unbalanced,
myself
yeah.
that was really hurting me.
Well,
and
you
so
were-
the reason we wanted to
Yeah.
have this conversation is because I know there's people that are aching
Yeah.
because people have left.
Yeah. Relationships have gone and fallen
Yeah.
apart or stopped being, and what it was in that for you too was that you had taken all the responsibility. You had taken so much of if I would have, if I could have, if I
Yeah.
should have,
Yeah.
then maybe it would be different.
Yeah.
And it was like the part of dumping that trailer was not just dumping the people. You weren't saying they don't matter anymore. Yes, the perspective is so good of like they're God's first, so we're going to give them to God and let
Yeah.
them. But you did all you could do.
Yeah.
And we have to like look ourselves in the face sometimes and go, did I do all I could do? Did I do my best to love them, to show them grace, to all the words? And if we did our best, then we just have to let it go. Because if we don't, what happens then is it carries into the new relationships.
Yep.
It carries into the new employee. It carries into the way that
we cripple ourselves.
End up leading those around us because we lead them, but we're like, but I'm not going to give them all of it because they're probably going to leave. Or
I'm not going to get relationally close.
Right.
I hear pastors say, oh, I'm not going to make friends in my congregation.
Right.
I'm like, oh man, that's birthed out of hurt and offense.
Right.
Like, and really the illustration of the scaffolding and the pillars is maybe not a great one. It is to a point, but like there are only a few people that are like really going to be with you for life.
Right. No, there's only a few pillars in a house.
Foundational
actual beams. I don't know those things, but like
you're not gonna have 100.
No.
If you have like 3 great friends, you're freaking blessed.
Yes, true. If you have enough people to call and say, "Hey, talk to me through this circumstance," or help me here in this season, and if they're then that for you back and forth, that you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, I think that we think, the more I step into more, then the more people I must have as pillars with me. And what it is it's just life. And like you said, some people are going to move. Some people are going to shift. Some people are going to transition. And what can happen, though, is when people do leave, we don't allow them to leave well because we get frustrated that they're leaving. And I think something you and I have learned, it's really important.
It's really important because when we try too hard, if people are halfway out the door, and we try to pull them in too much, we can do damage. So they can never come back.
Right.
And so there are some people that have recently transitioned out of the church. That all I want to do is like work really hard to fix it with my words.
Show up at their house, knock on the door, say, we will have a conversation about all of these things. And
it's every level. We just had some of our most influential, biggest givers leave.
Yeah.
For a stupid reason.
That's true.
Stupid.
No, yeah.
And then we've had some sons and daughters of the house that we love that have, through some confusion, made a transition. And all I want to do is jump on the thing with all my words.
And energy and emotion and all.
But I've learned that, like, man, sometimes the best thing I can do is just let them know the door's open.
I love you.
I love you.
Here. If you ever want to talk, that's, we're here for it. And I think
that approach makes it so that it's not worse. And so that the door's open.
Well, and then in that, sometimes because of the care and the emotion and the heart behind it, all the words, they get convoluted, and what you said, the damage can be done, but also then the damage can be done to us as well. And it's easier, we found, that God can do the work in all of that, and we just have to say, hey, I love you, I bless you, I'm here, I'll always be here, and you never know. You never know what the future will be. But be okay with it, and don't try so hard. We just did the episode Clean the Plate, but like sometimes we have to just have a reset. I was dealing with some of this recently numerically. Like there were names involved, but it was like a bigger COVID. We had moved locations, and so there were hundreds. What are my percentages of growth, and what are my
hundreds of
percentages
people
of loss?
That hadn't been back to the church in like 2 years. And so I couldn't barely get on social media without seeing somebody who used to be really involved, but just now hasn't been back. And so I said, for my own self, we have to have a reset. And so we had a meeting with all of our elders. We built a list of how many people?
Oh gosh, it was a lot. 300?
Oh yeah, 300 plus names on these lists. We divvied it up between staff and elders. And I said, we're going to call every person on this list. And we're just going to say, hey, Pastor Trust's been thinking about you. Would love to have you back at more church. Tell me your story. And I told the people, I said, some of the people we're going to call are going to be mad and say, I hate y'all because you did this. You wore masks. You didn't wear masks. You said this. You didn't say this. All these reasons. Cool. Just write down, they hate us. Okay. Then some are going to say, I don't go to church anymore. I think God's stupid. Okay. Write that down. Then some are going to say, man, I've just kind of fallen out of the habit. And I need to come back. And so we called hundreds of people, and what
I think we ended
What
up with, was it 35 families that were like, okay, we'll be there we had a big Sunday coming up that we wanted people to come to, and then Easter was shortly after.
Yeah.
And so we told them to intentionally invite them to these 2 days. And yeah, we saw a lot of people, because some people dwindle out of life just because they do, and they came back. But then we did have plenty of the list that also said,
thought it was
I won't
60.
ever be back.
I thought it was 60 families
It might be,
that
I
came
don't
back,
remember.
but maybe it was 35 and we call that couples.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
But even if it's 35,
Yeah.
10%.
Yeah. Whatever it was a great number.
Of people coming back, well, you don't got it. It's okay.
I feel like
was
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And what it did for me, as I'm just looking out over the sea of people that are no
Right.
longer here, it helped me have like a stop point.
Yeah.
Like, okay, reset. I'm going to quit looking backwards and only start looking forwards.
That's important.
Because you and Aaron just had dinner last night with an incredible couple who's relatively new to leadership at our church.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only reason you were able to do that with this new couple
Right.
is because you weren't so busy chasing
Those
ones that had already left.
Right.
God, it's hard though, man.
It's hard. It's super hard. But understanding that if I'm stepping into more, I just have to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
It's a huge piece of it. That I have a shirt that says like, stop, don't look back. You're not going that way. And there's a lot we can learn from looking backward. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But don't be so focused in the rearview mirror that you miss what's right in front of you. And I think that for us that we've learned to not get frustrated or overwhelmed. You and I have had moments where we were like, maybe we just suck at this. Maybe we just are terrible, like at connecting to people. Maybe never mind.
Yeah.
But the truth is, no, just keep moving forward. What does Nemo say? Just keep swimming. And like,
Yep.
it'll be fine.
Yeah. And Dory says, nope. And the other one says, let it go.
Let it go. Oh,
I don't know which
Elsa.
movie it is.
Elsa.
I don't know if I'm supposed to cancel Disney or not. But,
I don't know. I can't keep up with
But
that.
sometimes you just gotta let it go.
No, it's true.
Because that hurt becomes personal.
Yeah.
Jesus, so again, our context is the Bible.
Absolutely.
The disciples went into a town one day to try to preach, and they wouldn't let them preach. And Jesus, he said, shake the dust off your feet and go to the next town.
Taylor Swift did not come up with that.
No.
Jesus did.
Yeah, shake it off. And so, no,
Right.
real talk. She'd be stealing from Jesus.
She was.
And so sometimes we just have to shake off
Right.
the past and know that there's another town.
Yeah.
Jesus himself got betrayed by Judas
Yeah.
and denied by Peter.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Right. It's like Peter. Peter's like ride or die.
People are going to leave.
Right.
And so if you're watching this and you feel like a loser because some people have left, welcome to the club.
Yeah.
You've got to learn to process that. Because if you
Absolutely.
can't process that, you're going to get trapped where you are.
Right.
You're not going to be able to step into more.
Yeah, and you're going to miss some really great relationships and opportunities around you.
Yeah.
That if you don't allow yourself to filter some of those, then the new people that come into your life, you're going to miss out on some of that goodness. And so just keep going, keep moving forward.
Anything else with all that?
No, I don't think. If you did have a relationship that you screwed it up, here's what I will say. One thing that you've done really well, and I admire and have emulated because of watching you, is that there have been some people in relationships that you know that when they left, you didn't all the way handle it as well as you could have on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been intentional to, when you have seen them again, when you have walked back into spaces with them again, to just be like, hey, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't always do it right. I didn't always do it perfect. We don't have to be best friends. We don't have to be in great relationship, but I just want you to know I own my part too.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just a great piece that if there is people or if there are circumstances, relationships, whatever, that maybe it didn't go well and part of it was your fault, don't be afraid to say sorry.
Yeah. We did a whole episode on
Yeah.
that. Well, not just on that, but on the idea of I'm sorry. Yeah. There's been people that have left or people that we fired
Yeah.
that I'm still glad that they're gone.
Right. Yeah. It's
But
not,
in the process, we're emotional beings.
right. We're humans.
And so in the process, sometimes your flesh, your humanity gets wrapped up in the process and you say one sentence you know you shouldn't have said.
right.
It's like I'd kept my knife in my pocket the whole time.
Right.
But then it gets into a heated thing.
this one
and then
thing.
and I said it to hurt.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a yeller and screamer and bang on my chest. I know I look like I am.
Right.
It's not
That's
that.
me. I'm
Yeah.
I'm the yeller.
But so yeah, I've went to a bunch of them
Right.
and said, hey, listen, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know I did this wrong. If I could go back in time, I would do it different.
Yeah.
I think it's right. I think that our transition separate.
Right.
I think that it's good. But hey, man, I'm real sorry because I don't want them to have to carry an offense.
Right.
I don't want them to
Right.
think that they suck or
Well,
my words to get twisted in their head by the devil and then
Right.
them think something about themselves. But I just saw a guy. I don't know if I should tell the story. I just saw a guy a couple weeks ago that we fired. And I almost started saying I was sorry. And I stepped back for a minute. I was standing in a parking lot at a park, and I saw him. And I thought, don't say it.
Yeah.
Not that it was pride, but like
There was no reason.
there's unhealth in him, and I'm sorry for me will perpetuate unhealth in him.
Yeah,
because there was nothing
Yeah.
to be sorry for.
No, you have
so I'm
to
not
do
saying
it.
every person.
No. It's you only do it if you know that you had responsibility and that it needs to be said. Don't do it out of selfishness.
Yeah.
Do it out of selflessness.
Yeah.
The Bible says there's a verse that I hear a lot of pastors use. As far as it depends on me, live at peace with everyone.
Yeah.
But living at peace does not mean catering and pandering and all of those things. But as far as it depended on you, you're going to try to live at peace with them. So you
Yeah.
are saying sorry for the moment of like, that wasn't peaceful.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you have to be back in a
And it's
relationship.
awkward.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
awkward. There's moments where we're going to see people. You go to a conference, you see them. There's a funeral. There's a wedding.
Yeah.
You just bump into somebody in town, and at all of those things I just said, I've went up to people and said, "Hey, man, can I just talk to you for a minute? I want to say that I'm sorry."
Yeah.
And like give them the freedom
Right.
of
Yeah.
forgiveness.
No, it's really good.
Okay, guys, people are going to leave. You're going to love them. You're going to do your very best.
Yeah.
And something's going to happen. You know why? Because the devil.
Yeah. Well, and we're humans.
We're humans. They got feelings, and sometimes they just got to go.
Yeah.
For you to grow, they got to go.
That's true.
It's okay.
Good.
Guys, one of our favorite things to do is answer your questions. We actually have one in an inbox right now that we need to reply to.
Yeah, we do. We'll do that next.
We got to do that next. We got to reply to a great question that we just got from somebody on the Tugmore team.
That's right.
It's good.
We love y'all.
See ya.